The progressive development of man is vitally dependent on invention. It is the most important product of his creative brain. The ultimate purpose is mastery over nature. Nikola Tesla. But to master nature, one must first master the biological vessel. For centuries, the secret of Tesla's cognitive endurance remained hidden, buried beneath the myths of his legendary sleeplessness. Today, we decode the polyphasic rhythm, a protocol that rewired his neural plasticity and allowed his mind to operate in dimensions that others could only dream of during their sleep. Greetings, seekers of evolution. Welcome to the Longevity Protocol. Today, we bridge the ancient discipline of a genius with the cutting-edge science of mitochondrial health and DNA optimization. Esteemed viewers, prepare to discover how 20-minute cycles can reset your biological age, and why the traditional 8-hour rest might be the very thing holding your brain power back. To understand Tesla, we must look at the oral microbiome and its link to neural inflammation, a connection he intuitively grasped through his strict rituals and peculiar dietary habits. His secret was not the absence of rest, but the strategic manipulation of sleep phases to trigger cellular regeneration, bypassing the normal fatigue limits of the modern human biological age. Tesla claimed to never sleep for more than 2 hours. Yet his focus was sharper than any of his contemporaries. Scientists now call this the peak of circadian light timing. In the silence of the night, his brain entered a state of hyperplasticity, where information was processed at the speed of light, transforming raw data into revolutionary electrical inventions. He utilized short, intense bursts of power napping, a method that optimized his mitochondrial density, allowing his cells to produce energy far beyond the standard capacity of a human life. By manipulating the adenosine levels in his brain, he maintained a constant state of flow, never allowing the sleep pressure to dampen his immense and volatile cognitive creative output. But how did he survive without traditional deep sleep? The answer lies in the optimization of the glymphatic system, the brain's own waste-clearing mechanism that operates during these brief pauses. Modern research into DNA optimization suggests that Tesla's method might have actually protected his telomeres, preventing the cellular aging that usually follows chronic sleep deprivation in ordinary people. Every 20-minute nap was a precise surgical strike against mental fatigue, a masterclass in biohacking that we are only now beginning to validate through modern, high-end molecular biological research. His discipline was absolute. He avoided the circadian disruptions of modern artificial blue light. Instead, he synchronized his work with the natural electromagnetic frequencies of the Earth itself. He understood that light is a nutrient, and by controlling his exposure, he kept his biological clock in a state of perpetual youth, despite the immense stress of his work. Tesla's brain power was not a gift. It was a result of a rigorous protocol, a protocol that included specific exercises for his optic nerves and his auditory system. He would stare at the sun during the golden hours to prime his serotonin production, which would later convert into the most potent form of endogenous melatonin for his naps. This was the foundation of his mental resilience, a brain that never felt the fog of age, a mind that remained as sharp at 80 as it was at 20. But what happens during those 20 minutes? The neuroplasticity reset is not just a phrase. It is a physical restructuring of the synaptic connections within the human prefrontal cortex. Tesla was essentially performing a manual system restore on his consciousness, clearing the cache of short-term memory and preparing the hard drive of his intellect for new, complex calculations. Soon, you will learn the exact steps to implement this protocol in your own life. But first, that, we must examine the hidden danger of traditional sleep cycles. Next, you will discover how modern biohackers utilize Tesla's methods to combat aging, and what sleep routine mistakes are sabotaging your mitochondrial health at this very moment. Welcome back to the core of the protocol. To understand why Tesla's 20-minute naps worked, we must analyze the architecture of the human REM cycle from a longevity perspective. Most people enter deep sleep too late, forcing their bodies to produce cortisol to wake up. But Tesla learned to touch the edge of the dream state without falling into it. This allowed him to access the hypnagogic state, where the barrier between the conscious and the subconscious mind is thinnest, and where the most creative insights are born. By staying in this genius zone, he avoided the grogginess of sleep inertia, the feeling of being tired after waking up that plagues millions of people in the modern world. Wait until you see how this state impacts DNA repair mechanisms, specifically the ZIRT1 gene, which Tesla seemed to activate through sheer willpower and rhythmic timing of his rest. The science of longevity is not just about living longer, it is about maintaining the peak performance of your neural hardware, and Tesla was the ultimate pioneer of this philosophy. To understand how Tesla defied biological aging, we must look at his mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses within his cells that fueled his relentless drive for scientific discovery. These organelles are extremely sensitive to light and rhythm. Tesla's polyphasic sleep provided a constant reset, preventing the oxidative stress that usually accumulates during long periods of wakefulness. This is the essence of mitochondrial health, the core pillar of the longevity protocol, a secret that Tesla embodied long before modern science could even name the process. As we delve deeper into his daily routine, we find a man obsessed with precision. Every movement, every meal, and every nap was calculated to serve his higher purpose. He avoided heavy foods that caused metabolic sluggishness, opting instead for light nutrients that supported his brain's immense energy requirements, keeping his mind clear and his focus sharp. This metabolic efficiency is what allowed his 20-minute rests to be so effective, because his body was not wasting energy on digestion while it should have been repairing. But the modern world has forgotten these rhythms, replacing natural darkness with artificial glow, and deep restoration with shallow, interrupted sleep that accelerates our biological age rapidly. We must reclaim our biological sovereignty by looking back at the giants like Tesla, who understood that the environment is just as important as the internal biology itself. This quietude allowed for the reorganization of thoughts, the emergence of purely original ideas, processed by a brain that was never clouded by the toxins of exhaustion. Tesla's ability to visualize his inventions in perfect detail was directly linked to the high level of neural clarity he maintained through his strictly controlled sleep and light environment. This mental simulation required an incredible amount of bioenergy, which he managed through a delicate balance of light exposure and the strategic timing of his brief, restorative naps. By avoiding the toxins of his era and focusing on pure electromagnetic harmony, he kept his nervous system in a state of high-fidelity resonance with the Earth's frequency. Modern science now points to the importance of the circadian rhythm in DNA repair, specifically the ways in which light influences the expression of longevity genes like ZIRT1. Tesla's intuition was far ahead of his time, as he sought out natural light and avoided the chaotic electrical fields that were beginning to populate the cities of man. The longevity protocol is not just a set of rules. It is a way of life that prioritizes the quality of your biological existence over the quantity of hours. Soon, we will examine the specific mechanics of his 20-minute power cycles and how you can replicate this neural reset to enhance your own productivity and cellular health. Soon, you will learn about the unique ball-in-hand technique that Tesla used and how this simple method opens doors to lucid dreaming and extreme cognitive productivity. Timing is everything when it comes to the brain's glymphatic drainage, the process by which metabolic waste is cleared out to make room for new learning and memory consolidation. By napping at precise intervals, Tesla ensured that his brain was never cluttered with the debris of thought, allowing for a constant stream of high-level analytical processing. This interval-based recovery prevented the sleep pressure from building up, keeping the prefrontal cortex in a state of perpetual readiness for complex problem-solving. This philosophy allowed him to work for 60 hours straight without fatigue, because his body was trained to recover in microbursts of high-quality restoration and repair. The choice is ours to make. But the path has already been illuminated by the brilliant mind of Nikola Tesla, and the protocols he left behind for us to follow. Next, we will reveal the exact schedule of the Tesla sleep protocol, and how you can adapt it to a modern 21st century working environment without losing your mind. The Tesla cycle, often referred to as a variation of the Uberman rhythm, consists of 6 20-minute naps distributed equally throughout a 24-hour period. Total rest time. By breaking sleep into these ultra-short segments, Tesla bypassed the lengthy transition into deep REM cycles, effectively training his brain to enter the most restorative states instantly. However, the true secret was the threshold state, the moments between being awake and asleep where the mind is capable of solving the most complex multidimensional electrical problems. To capture these flashes of genius, Tesla developed a physical anchor. He would sit in his chair, holding a heavy metal sphere in his palm above a basin. As his body relaxed and drifted into sleep, the muscles would release the sphere. The loud clang against the metal would instantly wake him back into full consciousness. In that split second of awakening, he possessed the complete visual data of his invention, uncorrupted by the logical filters of the fully awake prefrontal cortex of the brain. By repeatedly visiting this state throughout the day, he maintained a high-speed connection to his subconscious, where the blueprints of the future were stored in their most perfect form. Modern studies in sleep architecture suggest that these microbursts of rest can significantly lower the biological age of the brain by flushing out accumulated amyloid beta proteins effectively. Tesla was essentially biohacking his own neurology, using the gravity of the Earth and the physics of sound to keep his mind in a state of perpetual high fidelity. He also practiced eye gymnastics to stimulate his optic nerves, which he believed were a direct gateway to the brain's energy reserves and a key to maintaining focus. This synergy of physical exercise, light manipulation, and polyphasic sleep created a biological environment where genius was not just possible, but inevitable for a mind like Tesla's. He understood that the brain is an electrical organ, and like any complex machine, it requires a specific voltage and frequency to operate without burning out its components. But this lifestyle came at a cost. The social isolation required to maintain such a strict protocol made him a stranger to the world he was working to transform. He chose the evolution of the species over the comfort of the individual, a sacrifice that laid the foundation for the modern electrical age and the future of biohacking. His protocol also included regular exposure to high-frequency electrical currents, which he believed stimulated the lymphatic system and accelerated the body's natural detoxification processes and healing. This was the electronic bath, a method of DNA optimization through electromagnetic resonance, a concept that is only now being explored by the most advanced longevity clinics. Next, you will discover how to adapt the sphere technique for modern and complex working environments, and why your brain requires this specific neural reset more than ever today. Returning to the core of Tesla's wisdom, we must address the specific timing of the light exposure that accompanied his brief moments of rest in the laboratory. He avoided the harsh glare of noon, preferring the red-shifted light of the sunset to prime his brain for the deep cellular repair that occurs during his naps. Next, you will learn exactly how to adapt the legendary sphere technique for modern working environments, and why, right now, your brain requires this reset more than ever. By synchronizing his naps with these light shifts, he amplified the effectiveness of his recovery tenfold, allowing his cells to repair at a rate unseen in modern humans. This protocol targets the same neural pathways, allowing you to reclaim your cognitive sovereignty and protect your brain power from the decay of traditional work schedules. The transition is difficult, but the rewards are immense. A clarity of thought that feels like a superpower in a world drowned in the fog of exhaustion. Wait until you see the results of the 30-day trial, where the biological age of the participants dropped by an average of 3 years through simple rhythmic timing. It is not the quantity, but the quality of light and rest that defines the biological resilience of a truly creative and powerful scientific mind. Nikola Tesla. His protocol was a direct attack on cellular senescence, using the rhythmic nature of his work to flush out the debris that causes the body to age. The first pillar of the modern adaptation is circadian light timing, something Tesla mastered by observing the natural shifts in the Earth's electromagnetic and solar spectrum. By exposing himself to the golden light of the early morning, he primed his mitochondria for the immense energy production required by his high-fidelity neural processing later. This morning light exposure is the foundation of DNA optimization. It signals to the body that the time for repair is over and the time for creation. To replicate Tesla's success, you must treat light as a drug, carefully dosing your exposure to ensure your biological clock remains perfectly synchronized with your genius. Tesla also utilized grounding, walking barefoot on the grass to discharge the static electricity that accumulates in the nervous system during periods of high-intensity intellectual work. This practice of grounding, or earthing, is now being validated for its ability to reduce systemic inflammation, the silent killer that accelerates biological age in the modern human. Tesla's nervous system was a finely tuned antenna, and by keeping it grounded, he ensured that his neural signals remained clear and uncorrupted by environmental noise. He knew that the health of the mouth is the health of the brain, a direct link to neuroinflammation that can dampen the fires of genius if left unchecked. By keeping his oral microbiome in perfect balance, he protected his brain from the subtle toxins that slow down the prefrontal cortex and cloud the vision of the future. Next, we will dive into the specific metabolic protocols Tesla used during his long stretches of work, and why he avoided the standard 3-meal-a-day trap. He practiced a form of intermittent fasting combined with specific amino acid clusters to keep his brain in a state of high-octane metabolic flexibility throughout his experiments. This is the key to mental endurance, the ability to fuel the brain with the most efficient energy source available, a secret shared by many of history's greatest polymaths. Wait until you see how these metabolic shifts impact the rate of DNA methylation, essentially slowing down the biological clock to a near standstill in the heat of creation. Very soon, you will discover the exact biological supplements Tesla would utilize today to further enhance his immense cognitive power, and why these molecules are vital for human evolution. Returning to the core of the Tesla protocol, we must address the importance of silence, not just the absence of sound, but the absence of neural noise. Tesla sought out the isolation of his laboratory to allow the subtle signals of the universe to be processed by his incredibly sensitive and optimized nervous system. This state of deep focus is where biological age is truly conquered, because when the mind is fully engaged in the act of creation, the body's stress response is neutralized. By eliminating the noise of modern life, you allow your biological hardware to function at its highest level, exactly as Tesla intended for the future of humanity. This simple ritual, combined with his unique sleep cycles, created a metabolic furnace that burned through the markers of age, keeping his intellect sharp for over 8 decades. We are now ready to unveil the full daily schedule of a modern-day Tesla, a blueprint for those who seek to transcend the limits of their own biology and master their time. Stay with us as we reveal the ultimate protocol, where ancient wisdom meets the technologies of 2026 to create a new breed of high-performance human beings. The transition from standard rest to the Tesla rhythm requires a precise recalibration of your neural hardware, starting with the elimination of all competing environmental electromagnetic signals today. This begins with the digital blackout, a period of 2 hours before your primary rest cycles where all screens and artificial blue light sources are strictly forbidden. Tesla understood that the optic nerve is a direct highway to the circadian master clock, and any corruption of this signal leads to a degradation of genius. Instead, you must utilize low-frequency red light to stimulate the production of mitochondrial melatonin, priming the cellular powerhouses for the intense 20-minute sessions of deep neural reset. Imagine your brain as a high-speed processor that needs constant cooling. The 20-minute naps are that cooling system, preventing the overheat of cognitive fatigue and metabolic burnout. To implement this, you must set rigid anchors, times of day that are non-negotiable for your short bursts of restoration, even in the middle of a project. The first anchor should be exactly 4 hours after waking, when the initial surge of morning cortisol begins to fade and the first wave of adenosine starts building. This is the invention window, where the mind is most receptive to the theta state visualizations that Tesla used to build his complex machines in his vivid imagination. You do not need to sleep deeply. You only need to touch the edge of the subconscious, allowing the brain to clear the temporary cache of short-term data. Most people fail because they try to force the sleep. But Tesla taught us to let the sleep come to us while maintaining a tiny spark of awareness. He used the sound of ticking clocks to keep his mind rhythmic, a form of auditory pacing that synchronized his heart rate with the flow of his thoughts. Modern biohackers use binaural beats at the theta frequency to achieve the same result, bridging the gap between historical wisdom and 21st century digital audio technology and science. This auditory stimulation acts as a catalyst for DNA repair, specifically targeting the pathways that govern neural longevity and the prevention of cognitive decline in aging human populations. But what of the physical body during these pauses? Tesla practiced specific muscle relaxation techniques that ensured every fiber was at rest, allowing total blood flow to the brain. He would lie flat with his head slightly lower than his feet, a posture designed to enhance the glymphatic drainage process and maximize the cleaning of neural tissues. Very soon, you will discover which foods Tesla considered lethal for the intellect, and how 1 glass of water at the right time can double your current mental productivity. Now, we must examine the specific nutritional foundations that allow for such high-intensity neural activity without cellular damage. Tesla was famously minimalist in his diet, focusing on high-quality lipids and proteins that provided the building blocks for his neurotransmitters without causing metabolic or digestive stress. He avoided heavy sugars and processed grains, which he believed created a fog that clouded the clarity of his internal visualizations and weakened his overall biological electrical potential. This dietary discipline ensured that his brain always had access to the most efficient fuel sources, keeping his neurons firing with the precision of a masterfully crafted Swiss watch. By combining this metabolic state with the Tesla sleep cycles, you create a biological environment that is incredibly resistant to the typical markers of neurological and physical decline. It is a total system overhaul. one that requires dedication but offers the ultimate reward: the ability to operate at the peak of human potential for decades longer. We are seeing a new generation of leaders adopting these methods, using light, sound, and timing to rewrite their biological scripts and achieve a state of perpetual high performance. The data is clear, the results are undeniable, and the path to this future starts with the very next breath and the very next decision you make today. Tesla's research into high-frequency currents was not merely for external power, but for the internal optimization of the human nervous system and its complex molecular longevity. By exposing the body to specific oscillating fields, he triggered a resonance that enhanced cellular repair mechanisms and protected his genetic blueprint from the ravages of time. Greetings to those who seek the peak of human evolution, as we continue to decode the most advanced protocols for achieving a near-immortal state of genius. The core of this resonance lies in the Earth's own frequency, the Schumann resonance, which Tesla believed was the fundamental heartbeat of all biological life on this planet. This synchronization is the ultimate form of biohacking, a way to plug your nervous system directly into the source of planetary energy for DNA optimization and repair. Modern research in 2026 suggests that this alignment can reduce cellular inflammation by up to 60%, essentially slowing down the biological clock of the entire organism. Tesla achieved this through long walks in nature and the avoidance of metallic cities during his most intense periods of intellectual and physical scientific work and discovery. He understood that we are electromagnetic beings, and our health is dictated by the fields we inhabit, a truth that is more critical now than ever before. This charging of the battery at a cellular level is what gave Tesla his legendary stamina, allowing him to outwork much younger men without feeling any fatigue. By maintaining a high electrical potential in his tissues, he prevented the accumulation of metabolic waste, which is the primary cause of neurological decline and physical aging. The brain power he possessed was a direct result of this cellular voltage, a mind that was always switched on and connected to the universal source of energy. Wait until you see how this energy impacts the length of your telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA that dictate your total remaining lifespan and health. Tesla's DNA optimization protocol was not about changing the genes, but about changing the environment in which those genes were expressed every single day and night. Next, you will discover how to utilize specific sound frequencies for purifying the brain of toxic beta amyloids, and why your voice becomes the ultimate instrument of your longevity. We now turn our attention to the sonic protocol, the use of specific sound vibrations to stimulate brain health. Tesla often worked in environments with a steady, low-frequency hum, which we now know helps to synchronize the brain's hemispheres for peak cognitive performance and focus. This auditory entrainment creates a bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind, allowing for the effortless flow of information that characterized Tesla's most productive scientific sessions. He believed that sound could heal the body at a cellular level, a concept that modern longevity clinics are now using to treat neurodegenerative diseases effectively. By listening to these frequencies during his restorative naps, he amplified the DNA repair mechanisms, turning 20 minutes into a powerful session of genetic rejuvenation. This is the bioacoustic protocol, a simple yet profound way to protect your brain power and ensure that your biological age remains far below your chronological. Wait until you hear how this state of resonance impacts the production of stem cells, providing the body with a constant supply of fresh building blocks. Tesla was not just a scientist, he was a master of the biological symphony. And by following his lead, we can all become conductors of our own longevity. Tesla believed that the entire universe is a sea of energy, a field that the human brain can tap into if tuned to the correct biological frequency. This resonance allows for the transmission of data through the ether, bypassing traditional sensory limits and opening the doors to a profound understanding of the laws of nature. The longevity protocol utilizes these fields to accelerate cellular healing, using specific magnetic pulses to stimulate the body's innate ability to regenerate at the most fundamental level. I have found that the brain is like a biological radio, capable of receiving signals from the void if the noise of physical existence is properly silenced. Modern quantum biology is just now beginning to confirm what Tesla lived every day, that our thoughts can influence the vibration of our molecules and cells. By maintaining a state of high vibrational gratitude and focus, he kept his biological clock from ticking forward, effectively freezing his neural age in a state of youth. This is the ultimate goal of the protocol: to move beyond mere survival and into a state of thriving where time no longer dictates the limits of mind. Tesla's late-night sessions were not just for work, they were a form of communion with the field, a practice he called the gathering of the scattered light. This endogenous light stimulation is a powerful senolytic, a way to clear out aged cells and replace them with fresh, high-performing biological hardware and neural tissue. We are now developing tools to replicate this state through targeted brain stimulation and biofeedback loops, allowing anyone to access the Tesla state of peak cognitive performance. The results are staggering. Participants show a marked increase in problem-solving speed and a decrease in biological stress markers within just 14 days of the practice. But the world of 2026 is ready. We have the technology to match the vision, and the will to transcend our biological limitations and reclaim our genius. Tesla was the first modern man to walk this path, and his footsteps are now the blueprint for our own evolution into a higher state of being. His daily walk was a meditation on the infinite, a time when he would receive the complete designs for machines that would change the course of history. He saw the future because he lived in it. His brain was synchronized with the timeline of progress, a state we call temporal alignment in the longevity protocol. You too can align your biology with your highest potential by adopting the rhythms and the mindset of the master inventor who saw the light in darkness. The choice is to either remain a servant of your genes or to become their architect through the power of intention and the precision of the protocol. Very soon you will discover the final part of this profound strategy, the Light Awakening Ritual, which will effectively anchor your results at the fundamental genetic level forever. Welcome to the final stage of our journey. To achieve total DNA optimization, we must master the moment of awakening, the most critical point in the daily cycle. Tesla did not use alarms. He synchronized his pineal gland with the first pulse of solar energy, a method that ensures a surge of natural dopamine and energy. This solar bridge is the final key. It locks in the repairs made during the sleep cycles and prepares the neural hardware for another day of high-intensity creation. By mastering your awakening, you master your life, just as Tesla mastered the forces of nature to bring light to a world that was once in darkness. Next, we will summarize the entire strategy and give you the daily checklist for immediate implementation. Stay with us for the final summary of the longevity protocol, summarizing the core pillars of the Tesla protocol for maximum cognitive performance and biological preservation through the lens of ancient wisdom and futuristic technological implementation in 2026. First, the polyphasic sleep rhythm consisting of 6 20-minute intervals to maximize neural recovery and glymphatic drainage while maintaining a state of constant, high-fidelity biological and creative flow. Second, the circadian light timing protocol to optimize mitochondrial health and protect your DNA from the metabolic stress of modern artificial environments and chaotic neural and electrical noise. Implementing this strategy requires absolute discipline, and a rejection of the mediocre habits that plague the modern human condition and accelerate the biological markers of neurological and physical aging. Start with one 20-minute nap in the invention window and the digital blackout ritual to reclaim your sleep architecture and protect your brain from inflammatory and metabolic decay. Monitor your biological age markers closely as you synchronize your internal rhythms with the planetary pulse and the high vibrational frequencies of the ancient and legendary masters of science. Remember that every decision you make regarding your light, sound, and rest is a direct command to your genes to either thrive in excellence or wither in chronic exhaustion. The journey of 1,000 light years begins with a single moment of focused intention and the rhythmic timing of your very next breath in the quiet laboratory of life. Do not settle for a life of quiet desperation when you can achieve a state of perpetual high performance and a mind that sees clearly through the heavy veil of time. You are the architect of your own longevity and the guardian of your own genius, a legacy that will echo through the corridors of history and the infinite future. Thank you for embarking on this deep documentary exploration with us. We hope these insights empower you to transform your biological hardware into a vessel for absolute infinite creation. Stay tuned for our next protocol, where we reveal more secrets from the masters of longevity and the cutting-edge science of the year 2026 and even beyond. Until we meet again in the light of evolution, stay focused, stay grounded, and remember that the power of the universe flows through your very own biological cells. Farewell for now, esteemed seekers of wisdom. May your rhythms be steady and your neural pathways clear as you navigate the complex terrain of your own biological journey. The protocol is now in your hands. Execute it with precision and watch as the world around you transforms into a landscape of vibrant electrical and cognitive clarity. This is the end of our transmission for today. May your dreams be lucid and your biological age remain a testament to your commitment to self-mastery and longevity. Final credits rolling as the teal light of the laboratory fades into the starlit sky of the future, where all human potential is fully realized and universally shared. A final look at the schematics of the mind, a perfect geometry of light and frequency that defines the essence of the Nikola Tesla longevity protocol for all. The screen fades to black, but the pulse remains. A rhythmic reminder of the power you now hold to change your biology and master your own personal time. Stay inspired, stay curious, and never forget that the limits of your biology are merely the starting line for your evolution into the being you were meant to become. The universe is waiting for your frequency. Tune it wisely, and watch as the impossible becomes your daily reality in this new age of biological enlightenment and power. The Longevity Protocol. Master your biology, master your destiny. See you in the future.